A lot of people finish things, but finishing things are much more difficult. As our executive vice president said earlier, you have crossed the finish line. You made it, guys. Almost. Finals are still next week, so the jury's still out, I guess, no pun intended. As I was thinking about what I wanted to say for the graduation, I thought I could talk about my story, I could talk about my journey through law school, I could talk about how I started from the bottom, now I'm here. But then I thought, or I could use my time on stage to send a message. And if anyone knows me, you know that I chose the latter. So I'm going to talk about my favorite topic this evening, democracy. I chose this topic because one, as graduates, you are going to be held to a higher standard of being a productive citizen. But two, the political climate has been a bit overwhelming, you think. And emotions are high, and there's tension. And I describe that as a lot of noise. My husband and I have 6 children in total, 4 in the home, so we are no stranger to noise. I feel them, I hear them when they're not even there. And so that to me is how our political environment feels. And so on any given day in my house, when we've got the 5 TVs going and the kids yelling, Mom, Dad, sometimes we just want to focus and it feels impossible. And in a time where focusing seems impossible, I wanted to use my 12-ish minutes on stage to maybe drown out the noise in this space for a moment so that we can focus, lock in, like my daughter always says. Did I say that right? Because there's something very important that I want to tell you tonight. And that is, you and your voice matters. So confession. I have never actually read the Constitution until a few years ago, and I know that's kind of funny because I'm in law school. So earlier this year, when I took constitutional law, I said, you know what, I'm going to go on Amazon and order the Constitution. So it came the next day, and when I got it, it was in this really thin, flat package. I was expecting like something bigger, because my con law book is like this thick. And when I saw the package, I thought it was going to be like a huge package with maybe a scroll and a wig in it or something like that. So I take it out the package, and I'm looking at it like, what the heck is this? I'm like, it's so small. And you know, I've learned over the next few years why this book is so small. Because telling the truth is simple. And thinking about it, this is the very instrument that is literally holding our democracy together. Wow. That's fascinating and kind of scary. I know you're probably wondering, why is this woman carrying around the Constitution? Well, this summer I took a course called The First Amendment During Wartime and Panic. The course was great, but the professor, Nathan Getting, who's actually here in the back, I saw him sneak in, he changed my entire perspective on democracy. On the first day of class, he boldly told us where he stood politically. Yet he created an environment that demanded objectivity and respect. He challenged us to come prepared and listen. If you were in his course, he was going to challenge you. And you were not going to back up your arguments with all the feels. You had to come with truth, and you were required to listen to opposing viewpoints. Through this, I learned that democracy isn't just about our right to vote. It is about our voices. The First Amendment isn't merely a list of freedoms. It's a tool for holding our government accountable. Accountable for seeking truth and for ensuring that our voices will continue to matter. He taught me that when we silence ourselves or fail to engage, we leave space for the government to act without our oversight, and democracy suffers as a result. The lesson that he instilled in me reshaped how I view my role in democracy and why engaging in meaningful discourse is so essential. Let's talk about your voice. Because when I wrote this message, it was on my heart and I was writing it for someone in the room tonight. The term democracy originates from the Greek words demos, people, and kratos, rule. Your operating manual is the Constitution. The First Amendment is first for a reason. It is the facilitator, the vehicle, and the activator of your rights. And you exercise those rights through free speech, free press, your right to petition and assemble, just to name a few. But society has silenced you. Society has told you that you shouldn't talk about politics. Society has convinced you that you must fit into one place or the other. And society has told you not to trust people that vote differently from you. Now, I'm not here to teach you constitutional law, but I wanted to demystify this sentiment that it's okay not to use your voice. Your founding fathers created this user-friendly constitution to ensure that you are free from governmental tyranny, to make sure that there was no room for ambiguity in your rights, that the power was vested in you. So when you don't seek truth, when you run away from discourse with people that think differently from you, and when you oversee holding the government accountable and you choose not to, it creates space for manipulation. Now, here's my message for you tonight. The government works for you. It is not the other way around. Woo woo! Imagine you are the CEO of a company. You've come to work, told everyone the vision, you've told everyone what to do, you've given high fives, ordered lunch, you leave, and then you don't come back for 4 years. That sounds crazy. Democracy doesn't happen every 4 or 3 or 2 years. It is a daily invitation and requires your active participation. You need to pay attention. I often ask people this: are you running your business, or is your business running you? So I pose the question to you. Are you running your country, or is your country running you? Are you running your state, or is your state running you? You're running your state, Stacy, by the way. And are you running your city, or is your city running you? I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that this is a room filled with diversity: women, minorities, veterans, immigrants, our LGBTQ+ community, religious diversity, and more. A lot of you, like me, may not have been taught that the government works for you. You may have been taught that the government works against you. And if you feel that way, that's okay. But I'm going to challenge you to do something about it. Why do you think I tortured myself for 4.5 years in law school? Don't talk about it, be about it. Because there's one thing for sure about me. I ain't scared. Okay. What's that famous saying? If you scared, go to church. My husband told me not to say that. Because we got a democracy to run. So my sister has 4 children. She's married. She's been working all her life to save up and buy a home in the perfect place. Her son has type 1 diabetes in a severe case. She found out several months ago that the government was putting in, or had already put in, a radioactive waste site in her backyard. And she was very upset. She lives very close to U of M, where her son he could potentially need to go there at any time. His life depends on it. And she called me and she was upset and she was crying and she said, oh my goodness, we're gonna have to move. We're gonna have to move. And then she had a moment and she stood up straight. And you know what she said? She said, you know what? No, they're gonna move. She got here a little late because she just testified in front of her state senate. I bet you they're gonna move. I may just take the Michigan bar to make sure. It takes courage. It takes boldness. But if you haven't learned anything from me tonight, remember, your voice has power. Your voice has influence. Your voice has authority. You better use it or you will lose it. So I'm going to leave you with this. I'm going to give you a poem from a man named Walt Whitman, dubbed America's poet a couple centuries ago. Did you too, O friend, suppose democracy was only for elections, for politics, or for party name? I say democracy is only of use there that it may pass on and come to its flower through the highest form of interaction between people. It is the quiet dignity of the individual voice, the shared responsibility of community, and the courage to dissent without fear. It is not merely a mechanism of governance, but a living principle that infuses our daily interaction with fairness, respect, and equality. Democracy thrives not just in the laws we enact, but in the ways we treat each other, the openness of our discourse, and the unyielding belief that every voice holds value and power. Its fruits are seen when the oppressed find justice, when the unheard are amplified, and when the collected spirit transcends division to achieve a common good. True democracy is not confined to ballots or institutions. It is the lifeblood of our humanity. Go forth, graduates, and be great, but most of all, go Rockets.